If you want to bring like AI development into your current workflow that you already have, uh, Vertex AI Studio has a lot of different tools that help you do that and interconnect with other parts of Google Cloud. So I think one of the big things we want to make sure that developers know is there's still best practices for developing with AI. And so the team behind Vertex AI Studio has keeps building more and more as we learn those best practices and applies best practices. So one thing that's really big is people want to know which model's right for them and for their project. And so now we have eval tools in Vertex AI so that you can actually evaluate, is this going to be the better model for our use case, what we're trying to do? Because honestly, I think one company could be using multiple models for multiple different projects just because whether it's maybe consumer facing versus internal facing, uh, you might need a different model that helps out and works better. And it's hard to know that without trying them out and evaluating them on the types of input and prompts that you'll be using.
I think I 100% agree with what you're saying there. Vertex AI is a great tool with Jupyter embedded and Workbench embedded, and just the ability for people who are programmers or data engineers to go and experiment and figure out what they need to do. But you made a great point there too about how do you make these things go live in production, right? That's been something we keep hearing in the industry.
Hmm.
Everybody's really bought into like AI hype, right? Because of generative models, and they're getting stuck of, how do you get from experimentation to production? Do you have any thoughts on the best way for people to solve that problem?
Yeah, I think one of the things that's important is actually to kind of step away from thinking about it like AI and start thinking about it like an application, like or a feature that you are developing. And so one of the things is depending on how you get there, there's a lot of different tools, whether it's Vertex AI Studios or whatnot. Usually you come up with something that is sort of an encapsulated application of sorts. It's already got whatever backend and databases it needs. It connects to the model in a certain way. You've got all this stuff built, but you still need to develop it and push it to production. And that kind of hasn't changed. I mean, yes, there's some idiosyncrasies that may be different, but that's always the case with tech. So step back from thinking, oh, this is AI, I need to do something different, and think, how would we do this with any other feature, with any other product, with any other application? And start there, because those tools, those best practices have not really changed as much as people think they have. So getting stuff out there, making sure it's properly tested, like, do we have a test plan for this? And what did it go through? Have Do we have some sort of maybe continuous integration environment if that's the way you normally do stuff? It doesn't go away. So I think that's the thing, is actually to step back from AI and just remember, this is still a product, this is still a feature, this is still an application that you have built that utilizes AI. So you want to step back and go, okay, how would I develop this and produce this going forward? Yes, there are some idiosyncrasies of using models and making sure when those update and stuff like that that may or may not be important depending on your use case, but those are small compared to the bigger picture of releasing your product, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to think about it. When you've seen people be successful, how have they started to get team members up to speed or involved? Right? How did they kick off some of these things?
Well, seeing people successful, it has really been more, they they kind of, like, obviously a lot of this has been new. So a lot of the teams that I've seen that have been successful have partnered up with somebody who has a better knowledge of it, whether it's internal to Google or one of our partners who's been working with us, like Promevo, um, and uh, and to get up to speed faster because um, tech is the way it is. There's constant changes, and it's hard to know everything. So finding people who've chosen expertise in that area and using them to bring your team up to speed really seems to be the best for it. For some of our larger customers, I know that some of our sales teams goes in and works with them on their specific use case to say, this is how you want to think about it. This is how you'd want to build it. This is what you can and can't do right now. And here's our plans for the future because we're learning from you too. Um, so I think it's about not trying to do it yourself. It's about getting that expertise from the people who know because things are changing so fast.
Yeah, living on both sides of it. On the partner side, I've enjoyed our teams going out and partnering with our clients to figure out what that first workload that's possible is. Right, like there's a lot of things people want to do with AI, but
Right.
figuring out something that you can do in a reasonable amount of time is sometimes a struggle, and people with expertise can help with that. And also demystifying some of the tech for your tech team. Like it's one of the things that we've all had to learn across our career is what is the newest tech that we have to include in our projects, right? If you've been at this as long as you have or I have, we've gone through several changes,
Hmm.
over the years, and you know, having a partner help you figure out where to get access to the right resources and get up to speed and where to start and not make it so intimidating, I think is definitely helpful on any of these projects, right? Like I've always gone out and sought these things at conferences or things like that. And Google has put out a ton of information, which has been fantastic. Like all the way back to when they were just doing TensorFlow stuff and helping people with
Right.
like these ML models to now like the cloud skills boost. There's a lot of good information out there. But what would you
Yeah.
recommend people look at to sharpen
Well,
their skills?
I think it it really probably depends a little bit on where it is, but I think definitely going to things like our Cloud Skills Boost is a great place to start. I know that some of our internal developers and also some of our partners have also created classes in like LinkedIn Learning stuff as well, which have some great classes. I've taken some of them myself to get myself up to speed, and so I think those are some good places. But I think it's good to. I'm definitely a person who likes to kind of spread myself out, so I don't get too niche, too focused on one sort of idea about how something should be done. So I do think that once you feel confident that you could do something with your knowledge base that you have, it's important to sort of find other resources, other people, maybe just like even like um, other systems. There's I hate to say it, we're not the only cloud, but like how at least take a look at it and learn how they do it and why they do it, so that you can kind of understand more uh, what's the best for your use case. I like to think that here at Google, we really we really try to work towards a better user experience of creating an app with AI, and really in general. Google Cloud has always been like, we want to make this a really good user experience and try and reduce the friction as much as possible. It's a very difficult task, but I think that's more our focus. Whereas other people have different focuses, whether it's being first to market or whatnot, So I think it's important to learn what those are because your business might align more with different ideas. And as a developer, I think it's good to know more than one thing once you feel confident in one area. And I don't want to appear too biased for Google Cloud, but we do have a really nice one to learn on to start your journey and learn it there. And you may never want to leave, but that's just because we're good.